Welcome, 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 everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. And of course, I am your host, DBoss. And I just want to thank the people who have been watching and following me over the years. It's 7 years. Yes, sometimes I'm saying to myself, wow, we're doing this for 7 years. But the time passes, when you're having fun. You could watch me Monday to Friday on CaribVision. We're in 22 different countries in the Caribbean. It's 28, including the London, UK, also through the United States to the various cable networks, and also on BellFibe channel 658, if you get that in Canada. And of course, if you missed all that, you could go to my YouTube channel, DBoss Networks, and subscribe, share, and like, the whole thing. But I hope everybody's been doing their laughing tips. I've been on this for a while, and a lot of people say they've been doing really well with it. And just keep it up. What you put out is what you're going to get back. And it's something to let everybody know, not everybody, but for you to feel better. Put your blood pressure down. It also tones your abs. I'm not saying stop going to the gym, but that can help and assist keeping, that midsection in flow. Also, it reduces, makes you more youthful. I guess everybody wants to look youthful. I'm not going to say you look old and cracky or something, but youthful. All right. So you could do that. And don't say, oh, I don't have anybody to laugh with. Well, you can call somebody. You can watch something funny. You could do that. They even have laughing classes, people. Yes, they have laughing classes that you can do. And you can actually sign up for that but I hope that nobody really has to do that, because then it's a lot of it's a lot of work if you got to go to the laughing class where you could have just did that at home. But anyways, we're going to hear one thing from our sponsors, Vital Steps to Vital Health, and we will be back with our special guest.
Welcome to your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. I'm Joanne James. Today we're going to talk about working out when you have a cold. I get that question quite frequently. Is it a good idea to work out when I have the cold? Well, if you have sniffles, maybe a runny nose, maybe not so bad. You don't want to work out intensely. However, if you have chills and a fever, stay home, take care of your body. Now, when you're exercising, if you have a cold, make sure that you don't work out too intensely. Stay from a basic to moderate intensity workout. And again, if you do have a flu or if you have the chills, don't work out at home. And if you're going to work out, try not to go into a gym or a club to do this. All you're going to do is pass your germs around. So remember, if you have a cold, take your time, let your body heal, then go back to working out at your full intensity when you're ready. I'm Joanne James. This has been your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Joanne James, for those tips. Because a lot of people, I was thinking, should I work out if I have a cold, or should I lay down? So it depends on what symptoms you have, that you're not going to spread it around. I think because everybody's so scared. If you start sneezing or coughing, everybody's like, stay away. But I thank her for clarifying that to people out there so that we know. But my next guest, this is a special guest, and we're going to, find out. I'm going to be finding out some things all about her. And she's from Dreamspeakers International Indigenous Film Festival, and she's the program director. So we're going to find out all about the festival, how it got started, why it got started, because there's always a story behind these festivals. So with no further ado, I introduce to you Aretha Greatrix.
Hello.
She's all formal there, people. Well, me too. All right. So here at Real Life Matters, Aretha, we like to know everybody's background and where they come from, their cultural background.
Sure. So my name is Aretha Greatrix, and I am Indigenous to Canada, and my family is Cree from Kistechuan First Nation or Albany Band. My father is non-native though. His family comes from multiple places, but English German,
Oh,
and Swedish, and French.
so you're mixed up then. You're
Yeah.
like me, a mutt. You're like
Yeah,
a mutt. That's what they call it.
exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
okay. We have that brings some good mix, you know.
For sure.
So you, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you say you come from, where is it? What's the Saskatchewan? Not Saskatchewan.
No,
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan First Station.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
because
it
I was
actually.
born in Saskatchewan.
Oh, well, actually, so they're, I think they're both Cree words, I believe. They mean something similar. Because my
Okay.
Saskatchewan specifically means where the river runs fast. And it, because
Okay.
we're up in Hudson Bay, James Bay in Northern Ontario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's so similar to Saskatchewan, because I'm from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
and yeah, so I was thinking, I said, well, I don't know, maybe have a city over there, but if it's up in Toronto, I'm telling you, we're finding out when I'm telling you, doing all these interviews, you find out all these places that you got to get up and go to, because, you know, Ontario is such a big place and there's so much culture and different
Mhm.
things that happened here, because I guess because we're so close to the Niagara Falls, Canada border, and people just go all the way different places from here. And plus, it's the hub where all the flights come in. So,
Mhm. For sure, for sure.
all right.
Yeah.
So, Aretha, so what made you guys want to start this festival, this film festival?
So this festival is actually over 30 years old. So it was started before my time. I mean, I was born, but I was not old enough to be working. uh, yeah, no, it started. The first film festival was actually in 1992. It was started in Canada, and then the year after,
Okay.
actually, when they incorporated and became an actual society. So sometimes we're like, is it our 31st year or is it our 32nd year? Because do we count the first festival, or do we count when we incorporated? So technically, we've been incorporated since 1993 as a society, but technically, the first festival was 92. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's been around for a very long
All right.
time.
So
Yeah.
what does it entail?
So
So what does it entail? Like film
yeah.
culture?
Yeah, so basically, Dreamspeakers is Canada's oldest and longest running Indigenous film festival, and we are second in the world. There was one film festival that was in California somewhere that was the first, and then we were shortly afterwards. So, but in Canada, we are the first and longest running Indigenous film festival, and it was always meant to highlight Indigenous filmmakers, storytellers, and things like that. So we've been continuing that on. It's only in the, I don't know when we became international, but one of the things that we've been branching out in is that the actual term Indigenous is actually a pretty big umbrella term, because there actually
Yeah.
are Indigenous people all around the world. And so for us, even for us recently, we've had to really define what Indigenous meant. And so we actually borrowed the definition from the United Nations of how they define Indigenous, because it
Okay.
helps us then to communicate what we're looking for when we say Indigenous, because some people might interpret that differently as well. Because if they're like, oh, my family's been here forever, we're Indigenous here now. And it's like, no, you've just been there for a very long time. They're original people. And like, some people have, in some countries, they've been colonized so many times. It's like they don't even know who the original people are. And so even they're like, oh no, my family's been here forever. They're like, no, there were original inhabitants there before then. And so trying to
And even in the
define that.
Caribbean, and in the Caribbean also,
Mhm.
the Caribbean countries also, and a lot of us, we didn't even know we had Indigenous Indian until
Mhm.
after, your parents start to speak up. Because we have Arawak, I have Arawak, and we have Carib Indian.
Mhm.
So we
Like
have
even
both, but mostly Arawak.
Yeah, like even you know, I've done so much work with talking to Indigenous people, especially in like South America as well too. Like the Indigenous erasure, like in Mexico and like even Puerto Rico, like the Taino people, like they're Indigenous.
Everywhere.
They're Indigenous. There's so many Indigenous people, and like the history of being colonized by the Spanish literally came in there, and that was one of their policies was like, hey, you're now Mexican, you're nothing else, you know, in that specific, and that's just Mexico and the other places as well too. Like they were like, no, you're this now and you're not anything else. And so even them, like trying to then discover that by talking to their family members and realizing that they do have Indigenous ancestry as well too. So so yeah, so our film festival showcases all that stuff.
So what is it? Do you have an age group, or is it a particular, or you got, how do you guys judge? How do you guys accept the applications and you know, look over like which film are you going to showcase?
So the way we work is we use an online platform called Film Freeway. And we just basically put a call out and we have certain categories. So and it always has to do with funding and how we define and what we're looking for. But because we have to be able to communicate back like how many films we had in certain areas. So we have like Canada and then we have international. And so we have both of those categories in each one of them. So we have like animation short, animation feature, documentary short, documentary feature. And we basically have like, I think 12 categories in total. And yeah, so like feature film, short film, international short, international documentary short. Like, so we have basically all these, and anyone can apply. The only thing that we require is that either the filmmaker or a key creative person has to be Indigenous. And we specifically have it like that because you can't be like, oh, the craft service person was Indigenous, so I'm going to submit my film. We're like, no, we need someone who has like a little more creative control, because then we're not really telling Indigenous stories at that point. You're kind of getting off on a technicality. So we really want to basically give a platform and a place for Indigenous people to tell Indigenous stories. And I think that's one of the things that we want to make most important, is that we want people to be telling their own stories, not someone else telling their stories for them. And so if we can do that as much as possible in giving them that platform, then that's kind of like what we're aiming to do.
So how many do you showcase in, like, is the event for 2 days or?
So it's kind of changed throughout the years, but like this year it's going to be 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then, and what we've learned from the pandemic was, like most film festivals, you know, we couldn't have an event. So we did an online event. And it was actually quite great, because not only did we realize that it helped with like accessibility and just, you know, the mixture of like, you know, not everyone can get away, or, you know, maybe they're like, it's a little too crowded, I don't want to go, or, you know, or maybe they live close, but getting into the city is a little bit challenging. So we decided after that we were going to continue to always have an online component to it. So we have a 3-day festival that's in person. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then starting the Monday, our film festival then goes online for a week.
Oh, okay. So extends on. It's an extension.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't have additional movies. They're the same movies that we then now offer online for a video on demand. So you can then purchase and watch them online.
Okay. So, or do you judge, do you like watch the movies and have input on what's going on, or you just you just overseer?
No, I watch every single film. When I tell you, it's actually the reason why we had to define what Indigenous meant, because prior to that, one year I had 900 film submissions.
Oh,
I tried to
jeez.
watch them
You're
all.
just in front of the TV 24/7 almost.
It was so hard, and I basically went through a lot of them because some of them weren't even Indigenous, and no one even said they were Indigenous. It wasn't about Indigenous content, nothing. And I was like, "Do you realize you just submitted to an Indigenous film festival?" Like, so I actually have it in there now that you have to agree to this statement that I understand that this has to be, a key creative or the filmmaker has to be Indigenous, because I was like it was so many, and basically I just had to go through a whole bunch and just disqualified them because I was like, well, you're not even Indigenous.
So
You
what
haven't
are they
been
shorts? Are the films long or shorts?
So we have both.
Are the film
So we have
Oh,
both.
you have both.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
both. So we have a shorts program, and then we have a feature, which is like, for us, again, we always have to define it. So for us, I think it's over 22 minutes. I think after that, it's feature. It's written on our website.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but it says like if it's
We'll
over
do
a
it
certain amount
900. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
But yeah, no, they were a combination
I'll
of
do
shorts and
that
features.
today.
But I will say, back then, it seemed that a lot of people were doing short films. So a lot of them were short films. So it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Although this past year, a lot of people submitted features. So it was just as long. But this year, we had over 200 film submissions. And what I do is I look at, okay, I'm going to have this much space to program films. And so I have roughly this much time. So I know I have about 22 hours worth of films that I can fit into these blocks. And so then as I'm putting them together, I'm seeing, do I even have time for all of these films? So before you even get to that stage though, so I watch them all. I basically verify that, yeah, they've identified to being Indigenous, which community they're from, and whether it fits our film festival. And then I put them in their categories. I then reach out to volunteers who want to be part of the jury selection process. And
Okay.
then I assign them categories. I then tell them, hey, watch these films. In Film Freeway, there's a way that you can score them, and I get them to score them and then write notes, as many notes as possible. What did you like? Like, what did you think about it? Like, what stood out from you and stuff like that. And then I'll then go through all those comments because I've already watched them as well too. And then I'll take the ones that I'm like, okay, here's basically like the finalists. And then from the finalists, I'll see, do I have time to watch all these films? Do I have time to even schedule all these films? And it's really hard because I always have like a good 5 or 10 that I'm like, if I could afford to attack on another day, I would put those films in. But I know I don't have the time, or I don't have the time or the space to put them in. So then I always have like the 10 that I wish I could have put in, but just don't have the time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So do those people that didn't get in, that didn't get they made the choice to have them there, do they get to submit that same one the next year or no?
No one's ever really asked, to be honest. I mean, they definitely can. They definitely could. We've had films that have gotten into our film festival, and because some film festivals will have a thing that they want premiere status, meaning they want to be the first to show it in the country, be the first people to present it. And our film festival, we're more about giving people platform and making sure the art gets seen. So we're not really being a premiere status isn't really that important to us. So for those festivals, if they've been like, hey, I got into this festival, but they need premiere status, we've said, okay, we'll pull it from our festival. I'll make note of it. I will send you a code and you can put it in next year, just to give them that opportunity so that they don't miss their spot, but they can still be seen and still get their premiere status at that other place.
Oh.
So it really just takes a lot of communication.
And there's you just have to ask. If you don't ask, you won't know.
Exactly. Just ask.
Also, is there a charge that you guys are charging to get into the film festival for the 3 days, or?
Yes. So we have we do have a pass that you can purchase that gets you into all the films and also gives you access to all the films online afterwards as well.
Oh, that's good.
And then each film as well, we sell individual tickets to per programming slot. So like shorts, like we have some films that are like 2 minutes long. We're not going to charge you to come into the film festival to watch a 2-minute film. We just put all those shorts that are together in one
Into
program.
one.
So, yeah, so then you pay for one and then you watch maybe 10 short films together, and it comes to usually about an hour or 2 hours, no more than 2 hours. And so, yeah,
Okay.
so basically we program it that way as well too. And that takes into consideration as well of which films we select. If I have one film that doesn't go with any other film, but it's not long enough for me to put it individually, then it's like, well, I can't really make that work. So it's
Oh.
usually the one that gets kind of left out too. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, this is a great thing. You got, and probably a lot of people never knew you guys were 31 or 32 years in the making. I was just
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
But it's good for you guys that you guys have been doing this for so long, and now they're finally, people are going to get a lot of the awareness. The people that didn't know, now they're going to be aware to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
are there any shout outs that you want to give to anybody?
Well, I definitely want to thank our volunteers and our jury members who helped me select all the films. It's been, I always say it's the most nerve-wracking thing putting on a film festival, because you program something and hoping that the people who show up uh, just really appreciate the films and really kind of get what we're trying to do and really appreciate Indigenous film and helping us just provide this platform. So yeah, just the volunteers and obviously all the staff and everyone who helps us make it possible, because I couldn't do it by myself.
No, definitely not.
Mhm.
All that watching, I don't know. I couldn't do it. They have to give you a certain, and I guess you guys have a certain time period. So it's once a year then.
Yes, once a year. And I do intakes for the next film festival start immediately after this festival starts. That's how much that's how much in advance. And then I give people months in advance saying, hey, the deadline to give me a film to submit is this day, which is usually in October or November. And I still get people in January going, I forgot to submit my film. And I'm like, okay, if you can give it to me right
Well,
now
you
before
count your
everyone
chickens.
says
I don't know if they're going
again.
to come to
But I will say so there is a fee to submit a film festival, a film into our film festival as well. But for us,
Okay.
it's also we never want money to be a barrier for anything. So we always want to make sure that, some filmmakers are making films on a zero budget, and so if they're
Wow.
like, hey, I literally don't have any money, I just made this with no money and I want to submit it. I also will always have on our website an intake form, and as long as you tell me that you're Indigenous, and I give waiver codes all the time. All you have to do is tell me that you're Indigenous, because I never want
Okay.
I never want money to be the issue. I never want it to be the barrier. And I know that especially
And then it could be an outstanding film or something,
yeah. Or maybe they used all their money on the film and they're like, I have no money
Yes.
left. And I'm like, well, yes, let's do it.
All right. So if people want to, follow you and see what you're doing, and they want to go to this event, where can they go find you?
You can find everything to do with our film festival at Dreamspeakers. We're on all social media, just Dreamspeakers, all one word. And our website is dreamspeakers.org. And all of our information is there. And we post on all our social media anytime we do intake, when our festival is, the schedule, any changes to our schedule. Yeah, we're pretty single branded that way. So hopefully,
well, that's good. Some people got these long names drawn out. They be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you obviously can misspell it if it's too long, but Dreams, it's easier. Dreamspeakers Intl, it's really something. So Dreamspeakers. So I really enjoy next year. Come on a little bit earlier.
Yes.
But we have to pump it out the best way we can right now.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right. So it's been a pleasure, Aretha, having you on and, and explaining everything. Because I'm telling you, probably a lot of people like myself, I never heard of the Dreamspeakers until now, International Indigenous Film Festival. So, get out there, people, attend. Where is it? Anyways, it's going to be up in Thunder Bay or?
No, we are in Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, you're in you see?
Yeah.
People can't go to Alberta, but you can do the online too.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're in Edmonton, Alberta, the Western people out there. So you'll get everybody out there who, to come out. You guys come out. It's a good thing to come and see the, support the people up and coming. You have to show that support. And, I'm 100% for that. All right. So anyways, Aretha, thank you so much for coming. I expect you to come again. And also, I do want to thank everybody for watching Real Life Matters tonight with DBoss and Aretha, Dreamspeakers International Indigenous Film Festival. And you guys get out there if you're in Edmonton, Alberta. And, let's do it. All right. So good night and bye for now.